Welcome to Leading Life, the show all about living to the fullest and leading life on your terms.
You will learn tips, tools, and strategies for achieving total personal transformation.
I'm Brent.
And I'm Cam.
This is Leading Life. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Leading Life. We're super happy, excited, grateful to have you on, what is it? It's actually Canadian Thanksgiving, isn't it, Cameron?
Yeah. Canadian
it's Thanksgiving for us Canadians here. So, but actually, we've got a special guest. But before we get into our special guest, I got so many things I'm throwing at you. We've got Cameron. Tell us a little bit about your week. Tell us a little bit about your story this week.
My story this week, I mean, I already said this because we had some technical difficulties with the stream, but I've just been hunched over in this chair at my desk, 3 monitors in my face for like at least 12 hours a day editing. And you know what, that might sound boring, but once you're done filming or creating or building or whatever, you gotta organize it. You gotta put everything together. And you guys, I'm doing this to entertain people, and we've got a lot coming, and it's all like we've recorded so much, and now I'm just at the desk 16 hours a day for a few weeks putting it together. Solitude is Bliss Part 1 is coming out tomorrow. We've got the Song Circle documentary coming out in January next year, and Brennan's got music videos coming out too. Have you even released those yet, or what?
I think my first music video will be released tonight, actually.
You think?
It depends. I mean, it's my music career. I'll release it when I want to release it.
Oh, fine.
No, it's coming soon. It'll be out soon, man. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, my week's pretty much been music. Lots of music focus. And I'm also preparing for TEDx talk. Speaking at a TEDx talk very soon. And me and Cam are also speaking next Saturday at another event. It's the Breakthrough 2.0 event with our friend Anthony Cheem and Lila Chavla. But enough of all that. We got a guest here, and we're super pumped to have him because although it's Canadian Thanksgiving, he's not from Canada, but he's celebrating it with us right now in the Leading Life podcast live stream. So, Brad, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm just looking forward to all the leftovers.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we got the live stream working. I'm glad everything's going good. I love your shirt too.
Yeah.
I say that again because our listeners,
yeah, man,
you're awesome.
Yeah.
Anyways, Brad,
yeah.
We connected by some sort of a coincidence, right? I got a message on Facebook saying, "Hey, you got to check out this Brad guy and the stuff he's doing. Super inspiring." And it was from our friend Myrna. And then you messaged me after, and I said, "Okay, let's set it up. Let's do this show because I love the topic you wanted to talk about." And before we get into that, you should tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So, this is, I'm coming towards an end of a 3-year journey into entrepreneurship. And I don't know if it's the end of it, but it feels like at the beginning of my journey, I was in Austin, Texas, and I had a high-paying corporate career in IT, and I basically bought a big house, had the BMW, like had all the stuff you're supposed to have, or quote-unquote supposed to have, but I still felt empty inside, and I wasn't happy with who I was. And I reached out to a life coach, and we had a really deep conversation. And at the end of it, she looked at me and she said, "You're not confident." And that was kind of, someone like slapping me in the face and telling me the truth of who I'd been in my life. And it was in that moment that I decided to really figure this out. And like, okay, why am I not confident? What do I need to do to be more confident? And I really wanted to, I had been scared to actually go out and do something on my own and to be an entrepreneur and start my own business and to really kind of go after it. And so I set a goal. I was like, okay, I'm going to quit my job in 3 months, and I'm going to, start the business, that I wanted to. And so I set this goal, and then about 2 weeks later, I was walking my dog, and I was thinking to myself, how can I make this come to, manifest faster? And I just had a thought, like, maybe if I get fired. And then I went into work that morning, and that's what happened. Like, I got laid off. And I left work scared but yet excited. And then I started stepping into becoming an entrepreneur and going after what I wanted. And during that time, I wanted to, create websites and do photography. And that's what I did. I landed a job in shooting a yoga resort in Guatemala, and I got a free trip out of it. And I was flying a drone of this yoga resort, and then I built their website. And it was a really incredible experience for me to step up and to do something that I had never, really done before. Like I had done some photography for a while, but to do it on my own was something that was really scary for myself. And when I came back from that journey, it was almost Christmas time. It was actually right after, the American Thanksgiving. And I went home to St. Louis, and I was in, I went back home, stayed with Mom for a few days for Christmas, and I just realized, like, in that time that, to give you a small the quick backstory, my dad died when I was 18, and I decided in that moment that my mom deserved a better house because her house had fallen apart and it was in shambles, and she was embarrassed to have people over, embarrassed to have her grandkids over, and I wanted to make a difference for her. So I decided in that moment that I was going to take on a task that I'd never taken on. So I moved back. I lived with my mom for 9 months, and I completely rehabbed her house, especially her basement. It was a nightmare, and just horrible. And something I'd never taken on was construction. And I finished the job, and I kept building my confidence levels by taking on more and more things that I had never taken on before. And when I was up in St. Louis, or I moved back, I got introduced to the business of life coaching and and really helping people see something within themselves that maybe they didn't notice, just like that life coach shared with me. And that took me on my journey to writing my first book and to doing some international speaking. And eventually led it, to this meeting you, and it's been this journey of really just stepping up and discovering, more and more and more about myself and what some of my limitations have been, what some of my frustrations and everything in life that has held me back. I've uncovered and peeled back the onion layers of why all of that was occurring for me. And during that whole process, learned a huge amount about myself and where my own confidence comes from. And what I've learned, for the core of it is really getting to know yourself and being okay with who you are on the inside. And you're a musician. I'm not a musician. I'm a funny, goofy, inspiring person. But sometimes that's been hard for me to empower other people because I used to always, worry about what they were going to say, or what they're going to do, or what they might think about me. But it's not there anymore, because now I know that when I can go make a difference for someone else, I don't worry about what other people are really thinking about me, because I get into the service of someone else. And when I do that, I'm not worrying about myself and worrying about who I am. You know what I mean? And so it's been an incredible journey. And there's one story in particular that really made a difference for me and kind of showcases what this world of empowerment's all about. And so when I went on this international speaking tour, not a tour, but this trip to Ecuador, while I was down there, I met a shaman, and he was part of the speakers, and he had he had a ridiculous rubber chicken like this, and he would travel the world and empower people and remind them not to be chickens in their life, and to step into their fears and to do things that were scary to them, because on the other side of fear is freedom. Once you step into it, then you're actually able to get past whatever that big scary thing is for you. But when he traveled the world, he would carry with him like a bucket of these rubber chickens. I don't know if you guys can see, if anybody's watching. They're like little 1-inch rubber chickens. So I keep it on. I keep it on my bracelet just to remind me, you know, like if there's something going on in my life that I'm scared to do or scared to talk about or have that, you know, awkward conversation with someone, that I can get through it if I just step into it. But he would empower people with these. And when he did that, like I felt moved and touched, and it was really cool to have that. And then I took that back with me, and I moved to Portland, Oregon, you know, after this trip to Ecuador. And while I was going through or living in Portland and being up there, I was going through a leadership program. And during this time, he actually passed away, and he was killed in a terrorist event over in Egypt. And I decided that I wanted to carry on his message. So I ended up actually buying my own chicken to empower people. And then I actually ordered a bunch of rubber chickens for myself to give away, you know, little bitty ones. And it was in that decision that I started to carry on his message. And I ordered these chickens. They came to the house, and I was looking on my phone to see if, you know, Amazon just dropped them off for the UPS guy. And they were just delivered. And I looked on the front porch, and they weren't there. I looked inside, that they weren't there. And then I put two and two together that I just saw a guy walk down the street with a bunch of packages under his arm, but he didn't look like the UPS guy. He looked, you know, like someone who wasn't supposed to be carrying my package. So it was in that moment that I realized, like, oh, wow, like I need to go chase this guy down. He just stole something from me, you know? And if it was me 3 years ago, I would have never chased anybody down. I would have gone inside and hid and just ordered some more packages. But in that moment, I was like, I got to go chase this guy down. I got to go get my rubber chickens. You know, this is ridiculous. That's mentioned that the story is ridiculous about rubber chickens. So I chased this guy down, and I confronted him. And I said, hey, I think you have my package. And he said, no, I don't. And I said, I think you do. And I said, can I see? And he showed me the package and had my name on it. And I said, hey, what's going on in your life that you're stealing random packages off people's porches? And he looked at me, and I could just tell, like, everything shifted in that moment. And it was no longer about me getting a little rubber chicken back or my stuff. I could tell something was really, you know, wrong in his life. And he looked at me and said that 4 people had died in his life that year. He was strung out on drugs. His mom was strung out on drugs. His girlfriend was strung out on drugs, and that they had gone homeless, and that they had turned to stealing packages off people's porches. And it was, I went into I switched my mode of like trying to get something from someone to like, wow, maybe I should use my coaching experience to make a difference for this guy. And that's what I did. And I listened to him. And I tried to steer him in the right direction based upon where he was at. And then I reached into my wallet, and I gave him the last $6 that I had. And I gave him my business card and encouraged him to return the other packages that he had stolen. And it was a moment I'll never forget, because I gained so much confidence from being in the world of someone else and seeing if I could make a difference for them, instead of being, oh, what am I going to get, or how do I look, or what are they going to think of me? I just got totally outside of that. And then I went in and I started to see if I could help him. And I didn't think about myself at all. There was a little nervousness being that it was a confrontational moment, and this guy was homeless. I didn't know if maybe he was, you know, dangerous or anything like that. But it was a transformative moment for me to realize, wow, confidence can really be easy to get when you stop thinking about yourself and you're making it about someone else. And like, what can I do for them? And how can I make a difference? It just all went away. And it was an incredible journey.
Wow, man. That does sound incredible. I've never heard a story quite like that, where it's, you know, about chickens, and then next thing you know,
Not just
homeless
chickens, rubber
people.
chickens.
That is an adventure, man. That is an adventure.
Yeah.
No, that's a beautiful
Yeah.
story. it's funny how it's those types of coincidences or I don't know if you want to call it coincidences or destiny or events that, trigger something inside of you, trigger that shift, that small shift from, wow, I needed that big realization. And I mean, so the topic is self-love. It's confidence through self-love. And I love that you find confidence through helping others. And that definitely makes a lot of sense when you go from focusing on yourself to focusing on service. It takes the pressure off of you a lot of the times,
Well, I mean, like, if you look at the opposite of confidence, it's like insecurity or, worrying about what other people think. And really, you're thinking about yourself when it comes to the opposite of confidence. You're thinking, oh, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, or I won't be able to do that, or I'm not good enough. That's the opposite of confidence. So finding confidence exactly would be to stop thinking about yourself, stop thinking about what other people think of you, and actually just focus on the task at hand, the goal at hand, and obviously focus on helping others as well.
Yeah. And within that, there is also the self-love piece. And I know there's, we've only got about 10 minutes left or so, on this session. But with the self-love piece, it's like we beat ourselves up so much up here in our heads, and we ruminate in all these negative thoughts about ourselves, and, oh, I can't do that. What are they going to think about me? And one of the most powerful experiences that I was able to experience was doing some real, like, it sounds ridiculous, but looking myself in the mirror and actually starting to like the person in there. And what I teach these 6 steps to greater self-confidence, and I'll run through these really quick. But basically, if you can list out your strengths in life and your triumphs and put those on a mirror, and really realize that you have those strengths and that you were able to overcome or achieve those great things in your life, that's like the 2. I call these, like, it's a strong, if you can list out a strong, an acronym. So S is for strengths, T is for triumphs. The R is for letting go of regrets in your life, things that you may have been ashamed of, or things that you held on to that you regret. Letting go of those, like, just completely, forgiving yourself. And if you need to ask for forgiveness from other people, do it. It's super powerful, because there's so much power there that when you're able to let it go, like, it just frees you, and you're able to step into the whole new realms of confidence. And the O, what I was getting into, is observing yourself in the mirror. And I used to be a chubby little fat kid. And I used to have a lot of shame around that, around my own body. And it sounds ridiculous, but there's a lot of power in it, is looking yourself in the mirror and starting to love the person that's in there. And if anybody who is watching or listening and they look themselves in the mirror and they dart their eyes right away, or they can't be present with that person, there's probably something underneath that says, oh, they're going to find out that happened, or I did that a long time ago. They never should know that. But what I've really found is that there's so much that we have more in common on a deep level, but we don't want to actually share it. And once we're able to be okay with those things in ourselves, like, your confidence can just start to skyrocket and just be like, wow. There's a teacher, she shared with me a really powerful exercise, and I know it's ridiculous, but if there's anybody that's listening or watching that has any kind of body issues, like I've had, break out the mirror, get all naked and stuff, and just look at yourself and start to appreciate who you are, like that person in it. And when you can start to accept the person in the mirror, regardless of shape or size, you can start to walk more taller and bigger in your own life. And it just makes a hell of a difference in really starting to love yourself. The N in that acronym is when you're nervous, go into service, kind of like with that guy, the rubber chicken robber, the rubber chicken robber. But when you're nervous, go into service. And then the G in the acronym is really embracing who you are. like embracing, like, I'm this funny, goofy, empowering person, and not being ashamed of that. And like for yourself, like I haven't heard your music, but really just embracing whatever your unique style of music is, and just being like, like Lady Gaga, she doesn't let anything hold her back. Like she really embraces that unique, freaky, whatever. And people love that she's just completely self-expressed. And it's really freeing when you can get into that space and just be like, F yeah, that's me. I'm this freaky, chicken loving, funny, wacko, empowering person. And the opinions of others don't matter anymore. Like you have all the freedom. And my journey has taken me from no confidence with a lot of money to all confident with a lot less money. And I can tell you that it's the feeling on the inside. Money can't fill you up. Like there's nothing it can do. You can try. I tried, but it doesn't work. It's a really cool space to be. That's my story in a nutshell.
Yeah. No, man, that's amazing. I really like the point you make there where, if you're trying to be something you're not or someone you're not, that's when you lose all confidence and self-love. It's really when you accept yourself for who you are and like bathe in your authenticity, man. Just be yourself and be ridiculous as you are, right? Be awesome.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah. See, you're awesome. My t-shirts. You're awesome. T-shirts.com.
Yeah. No, man, we're super grateful to have you on the show. I was happy to hear some of your story because this is pretty much our first time meeting. So,
yeah.
And you talked about how you had a book and you had other things out too. What else do you work on? Like, what's your mission today and for the future?
Yeah, my mission right now is letting other people know, that self-confidence comes from within, and that when you get into the service of other people and you really embrace who you are, you don't have to worry about what you look like. You don't have to worry about what you have, the things in your life, because people will love you for who you are and not for what you have. And once I realized that for myself, like all the other worries in my life pretty much washed away. There's little things that come up here or there, but for the most part, it's incredible just to be able to sit and be like, yep, this is cool. I can go do whatever I want and be fine and not worry about the failure that comes on the other side. Because no matter what, like people are going to fail at many different, I'm going to screw up more and more and more and more, but I'm going to learn more and more as I go through it. But yeah, if anybody who is listening or watching right now wants, these 6 steps, they can get them on my website at selfconfidencecoach.co. And if they have any questions, I'm happy to have, conversations with anybody and see if I can make a difference for them and pull some strings and get them more confident really quick.
Yeah, man. No, you've definitely made an impact on some of our listeners today. I could tell you that much for sure. And again, we're super grateful to have you, and I'm sure this is not going to be the end of our journey, or we'll see each other again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys having me on. I really do.
Yes, awesome. We appreciate you. Cam, man, you got any final words?
I guess I'm going to say thanks for the people who are watching. Really, really appreciate all the support we get for the show and all the guests we've had. Like, you have had an awesome story today, and I really appreciate it because it came from a real place. Like, you were actually in the mindset of, I need to get my stuff back, and then it shifted and you had that breakthrough where you realized that self-confidence is about other people, and that's awesome. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Perfect. Okay, Cam, roll the outro. About a minute. Okay, roll the outro. We got 1 minute left on this.
We gotta go, guys.
We gotta go.
Connection's ending.
The outro.
More money in the meter.
The outro already ran, bro. It's time. Say goodbye, Brennan.
Oh, me say goodbye?
Yeah.
Okay, peace. Goodbye. See you, Brad.
It was nice meeting you, Brad. Goodbye.
Hey, peace out, guys. Yeah,
see
thanks,
you,
man. I appreciate it, guys. Talk to you later, man. Bye.
Cheers.